There's a difference between want, I want to do something, and need, I need to do something. And let me give you an example. Americans, by and large, speak English, but most Americans don't speak a second language. They don't feel they need to. Now, I certainly think it would make us more cultured. I've strongly encouraged my son and my daughter to speak a second or third language. My daughter had taken several French classes. I think speaking a second language, it would be really great. But in America, maybe it's arrogance, maybe it's a reality. 1.5 billion people on this earth speak English. It is the universal language of air traffic controllers. At the World Cup, it was mandatory that every ref spoke English. So our team didn't qualify. Our language, even in Russia, was mandatory for the world. My producer, my daughter, just went to Italy. Signage in English everywhere. The reality is, maybe it's arrogance or maybe it's reality. In America, we don't feel we often need to speak a second language. But in Europe, it's different. All those countries next to each other, you can have breakfast in France, get on a train, hour later, have lunch in Italy. So in Europe, people speak several languages. It's not a want, like I want to speak French because it's romantic and I want to go to Paris. It is a need in Europe. In the NFL, I talked to my friend Michael Vick once. It was on the air, and we've talked about it off the air. He said, I didn't feel I needed to become a pocket passer in the NFL. Because in high school, 3rd and 8, I just took off. And in college at Virginia Tech, 3rd and 8, I just took off. And in the NFL, first 5 or 6 years, 3rd and 8, I just took off. I ran. And then Michael Vick got hurt a bunch and had surgeries. And wanting to be a pocket passer.
My gang in Hong Kong. Oh, shit.
Pocket passer. And Michael admits now, my friend has said, it was too late. All my best athleticism was gone by the time I needed to be a great pocket passer. I've said this from the very beginning on Lamar Jackson. He's draftable. I didn't see him as a first rounder, more as a late second, early third. He is a project more than a prospect. Baker Mayfield's prospect. He's a project, needs time. I saw this quote. He was asked about all those hits he's taking, and he was asked, what about taking those hits? He said, I was just focused on winning. I wasn't really worried about those big hits. They're going to be delivered. RG3, who's taken hits and who now also plays for the Ravens, said, I'm trying to tell him that, things happen faster here. It's not that you can occasionally run, but you better be smart when you do. Marty Morningweg at a press conference was asked about Lamar Jackson taking all these hits in the first couple of games.
Marty, how do you feel about Lamar when he's running and he's taking those hits?
Yeah, that's not good. You see what I'm saying? It's just that simple. We'd rather get down a step too early than a step too late, or get up and out a step too early than a step too late.
This has been, from day one, my question about Lamar Jackson. I don't care what he completed on 3rd down in college. On 3rd and 8, will he shift his mind and be able to say no to something that rewarded him in high school and rewarded him in college? There's no need for Lamar Jackson to be a great pocket passer, high school, college, and his first few years in this league. It's mostly a want. Do you want to do it? But use Michael Vick, my friend, as an example. Michael admits it's hard when you're so good at something and it's really easy and natural to do something and not develop something you need to develop. Because there are no quarterbacks that win Super Bowls in NFL history who are way better runners than throwers. Steve Young was initially. By the time he won Super Bowls, he was a good passer. Russell Wilson, first year, better runner than thrower. Year 2, he was a better thrower than runner, or equally as good from the pocket. And this is just like Americans in language. We don't feel we have a need, and maybe it is arrogance. I would encourage everybody to try and learn a second language. But it should be noted that we are the mandatory language of a World Cup, which we can't even qualify for. And we are the mandatory language in air traffic controllers. Can't get in the sky if you don't speak it. And 1.5 billion people speak English. 20% of the world speaks English. And maybe it's arrogance. Maybe it's real. But there is a different need and want. And I would say to all quarterbacks who have the ability to run, I know it's a gift and I know it rewards you, but you're going to need to figure out the pocket thing. Because here's the simplest way to put it. Think about how great Alabama is. 75% of their defensive players never do anything in the pros. Either don't get drafted or don't play at a high level. And they suffocate college offenses. Suffocate them. Favored to win the national title again. Last 8 years, dominate games. Win by 40. 75% of their defensive players either don't get drafted or don't get a second contract in the National Football League. Look around the NFL. How many great defensive Alabama players are there? About a handful. And for 8 years, look at how many they've recruited. Drafted. So, Lamar, think about it. Think about the hits all the time. Develop. It matters. All right, tonight, Baker Mayfield is playing here on Fox. I'm very excited to watch it. And I saw this. Whoa, look at this. Pro Football Focus grades Baker Mayfield above all first-round picks. Here's all the quarterbacks. First round. Oh, brother. Baker's way better than everybody. You got like an 86, and Josh Rosen's got a 46, and Lamar a 54 grade, and Josh Allen a 72, and Darnold a 75, and Baker's at 86. And NFL preseason grades are really similar to junior high grades for kids. Colleges never ask for your 7th grade transcript. It doesn't matter. When you watch Baker tonight, trust your eyes. Don't be a pom-pom waver in Ohio. Okay, watch the game. Look for 2 things, 2 words that will tell you the same thing. Poised or overwhelmed. That's it. And if he looks poised, got yourself quarterback. And if he looks overwhelmed, you either don't or you don't currently have one. Well, I've watched all these guys play. Lamar looks a little overwhelmed. He needs some time. Baker and Sam, they're ready to play in this league. Now, they're going to make a bunch of mistakes, but all these stats in the preseason, they don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. 90% chance with Baker Mayfield. This is my biggest concern for Baker Mayfield. It's never been that he's going to be a bust. It's never been that. I've never said that. I don't think he's going to have this coaching staff next year. I don't think Baker Mayfield's going to have this coach next year, this offensive coordinator next year. Sam Darnold, I believe, is going to have the same head coach, the same coordinator, and Josh McCown's still going to be backing him up. In 1 year, my belief is Baker is going to be dealing with what every quarterback in Cleveland deals with, a new coach.